Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna do a quick review and demo of a set of Real Techniques sponges, which is the one with all the three different types of sponges. I got this set with the Black Friday sale and I have tried it out for you guys, and I wanted to tell you my opinion and how I find the sponges work the best. If you have seen my 2016 beauty favorites, you've seen that this Real Techniques complexion sponge is among my favorites of last year because it works amazing and I use it on a daily basis to apply my foundation. So when the set came out that contains three different types of sponges for three different applications, I said I have to try it. It will blow my mind. The set, as I said, contains two of the Real Techniques complexion sponges, so these two orangey babies. Then three of the mini eraser sponges, which look like this, and these are small and purple. And one of the Miracle Sculpting sponge, which is this pink baby here. Now the colors coordinate just like the rest of the Real Techniques series to the areas of the face or the application of each of the sponges. We have the orange one, which is for the base, and you have, for example, the orange corset of the Real Techniques brushes, and the purple one instead relates to the eyes, so anything that has to do with the eyes. And you have the eye brushes from Real Techniques are also purple. And then the pink one instead is for finishing, so for other areas of the face that are not the base and the eyes. And for example, in the line you have this setting brush, which I also adore, by the way. This set retails for $20, whereas, for example, a single complexion sponge is around $6, I think, and you can get a double pack of the mini sponges for also around that price. So it is definitely great value for the money, and yeah, I tried it out for a while and I wanted to tell you what I thought. Starting off with the one that I already know I love, this is the Miracle Complexion Sponge. Here you can see it in its dry state, and this one instead is the one I use today to apply my makeup, and it's all damp. You can see it grows quite a lot, and yeah, it works wonderfully. I personally apply my foundation, as you can see, this is now dirty, with this bigger, and I stamp it all over my face. The tip is also useful because it helps to apply the foundation in the little areas around your nose or in your forehead where it is more difficult to go with a bigger surface. And it also has a flat side. And I used to use this for example, baking and also just dabbing on foundation. But I like the bigger side for that because I can cover more area. We have already determined that this is one of my favorite products, so I'm not gonna go much more in detail with it, but it is definitely a great sponge. It doesn't absorb too much product, it does a great job at blending, so I was very happy to get two more that now I can put in my spares. So the sponges I was the most interested in this kit and that I was most excited about are the mini eraser sponges. These are smaller versions of the Real Techniques complexion sponge, and let me show them to you side by side. These are both dry and the shape is very similar. The difference is that not only does the mini have a flat edge here, but also the tip of the flat edge has been cut off. You can see here I have them, a dry one and the one I use today, which is damp, and it grows quite a little bit and it is perfect to fit underneath the eye. So the first thing I wanted to use it for is indeed to buff out and blend my concealer, because the small tip really helps to get underneath the eye, on the edge of or your eyeshadow if you made it if you applied it already. It is definitely very, very suited for blending the concealer under the eyes. And I have used the flat sides to blend the concealer on top of my eyebrows, for example, where I want to clean them up a little bit. And I apply the concealer with the wand, and then I blend it out with the flat side of the sponge. These have been absolutely a revelation, and for this application I adore them and I use them all the time. Definitely a great little sponge. However, their name is mini eraser sponges, and if you look at the Real Techniques website and their demo videos, they explain how you can use this wet or dry, again, to remove fallout, for example, from eyeshadow. And that is what I tried today. I applied a loose eyeshadow that I know has quite some fallout, and you can see I definitely got a lot of fallout underneath my eye. I wanted to try it first to dry, as they say. Nick from Pixie Woo showed how she keeps one wet to blend her eyeshadow and a dry one to erase her mistakes, let's say. And I tried to use the dry one to remove the fallout, but that was terrible. It just spread out the eyeshadow and left me with a red under eye. So what I did was I tried to then correct that with the damp sponge. This did not work in this particular case because I think the fallout was very much and very dark. On the other eye that I didn't film, unfortunately, the wet erasing, let's say, worked very well, and in this case it didn't. So what I did instead was put some concealer on my hand and dab it on to where I had fallout with the damp sponge, and that worked perfectly to cover up all the fallout.
Another different way to use these sponges was suggested to me with my 2016 Italian beauty favorite, and it is to apply my eye primer with it. I have this Nabla underpainting eye primer or cream eyeshadow that I use as an eye primer, and it dried up so badly on me, and a friend suggested to use a damp sponge for it, and these little mini eraser sponges are actually perfect size to apply primer, and you can see how easy and uniform it goes on, or at least I could see it. And I'm very, very happy that now I can use this cream shadow again as a base for my eyeshadow.
In summary, this mini sponge, I am super excited to use this for concealer. I use it all the time. It may be useful to correct some small things, but I wouldn't use it as its main application. Definitely amazing, and I'm so happy. And now I have 3. It's like, how good is that? The final sponge in this set is this weirdly shaped Miracle Sculpting sponge, and they say this is perfect for contouring and highlighting. It has 2 sections, a smaller and a bigger section. Both areas are excuse me, both areas are cut off, and the bigger area is made to be used to blend out cream contour, but since I don't have any product for cream contour, I couldn't show you that, but I believe it works very well for that as well. What I did try with this is to apply a liquid highlighter, and in this case the Becca liquid highlighter in Opal I have here in a mini version, and I tried it on one side of my face dry, and I must say, yeah, I blended it out, but I felt like it didn't really smooth it and blend it inside the skin. It just absorbed some of the product and spread the rest. So I went quickly to wet it, and I did the other side of my face with the wet sponge, and that was very, very good. On the other side of my face with the wet sponge, I think the effect was absolutely beautiful. So definitely a very good sponge to blend out your contour and highlight in cream or liquid form. And finally, another test I did is to try to apply a colourpop blush with this sponge. And the thing is, colourpop blushes are usually a bit more difficult to apply because a regular brush doesn't do it. So I usually use the Real Techniques stippling brush, and that works wonderfully for me. But I wanted to try this since highlighters from Colourpop with a sponge work very well. I wanted to try the blush as well. So I picked it up with the smaller side of the sponge from the pan and applied it on my cheeks. The first cheek I did came out a little bit bold and slightly maybe out there. So I just picked up less product and build it up a bit more gradually on the other side, and I really like the effect, I have to say. It is very easy and very precise using the small side of the sponge, and then I used the bigger side of the sponge to blend it out and help it blend with the rest of my makeup. So that is also a good application for this sculpting sponge. And then finally, as I said, I usually use the flat side of my complexion sponge for baking, but just to try, I try to bake with the flat side of my sculpting sponge underneath my eyes. I think it's a bit too big for that, so I actually got powder a bit everywhere and decided to just powder the rest of my face with what I had on the sponge. And yeah, that works. I think it's a bit big, so maybe using the smaller side would be a better idea, but it's a flat surface, it's a flat sponge, and it does a good job for that. Overall, I am super happy with this set. You get 6 sponges for only $20, and they really take care of most of the application of cream products that you can need on your face. I am already using intensively both the complexion sponge, as you already know, and the little mini sponges, and yeah, these are absolutely amazing. I definitely recommend this set. For me, this sculpting sponge is really an extra. I didn't need it. I could use it if I go in with cream highlight, for example, or ever tried cream contour, but it's not something that is necessary, let's say. One last thing to clean them, that is also a big point for Real Techniques, is that they are very easily cleanable. They are all in the same material as their complexion sponge. And what I do is I get just a simple bar of soap from the drugstore or the supermarket, and I'm using now the Dove Sensitive Skin. And I hold this in my hand. I wet my sponge, but not completely damp, and then having it squeezed, I rub it in the soap and release so that the sponge effect will absorb a lot of the soap and water and clean deeper inside the sponge. Then I rinse it out underwater and repeat the same procedure. So squeeze, rub, release, and then rinse out. And this gets my sponges clean every single time. I must say I am a bit lazy, so I don't clean my sponges at every use, but every couple of uses, and that results in a little bit of staining in the complexion sponge I saw, but these little ones are absolutely wonderful, and they clean out every time absolutely perfect, even if I don't clean them every single time I use them. And I guess it is because these are much bigger and the product goes deeper and cannot be cleaned as easily. Another important thing for these, and I've seen horror stories, you need to let them dry in air and possibly out of like dirty surfaces, because otherwise in a wet environment bacteria proliferates very easily. So it is very important not to let them locked in, like I saw people put them in these Kinder eggs or whatever. And what I do, which is very simple, I usually have all my sponges in this stationary bin, which is all perforated, and I just let them sit here and dry, and they're dry within a couple of hours, I guess. I don't know. They dry very easily, and they are in air. So that was it for my Real Techniques Miracle Sponge Set review. Let me know in the comments down below if you picked it up or if you are curious of any other application that this could have. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like it if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with all the new videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!